From the CBS Interactive Studios in San Francisco, California, it's the Byte Extra Crunchy podcast with your host, Brian Tong.
And like that, it's episode 48. You know it is. Byte Extra Crunchy, Extra Munchy. All the latest news and additional news and expansion upon thoughts and ideas. Here bringing it to you with my man, Stephen Beacham, running the show as usual. You got to say hi to everybody. Again, the show is all about you. This is not all about us. All you have to do to make your voice heard, voicemail, call us 1-800-616-2638, your name, where you're from, your comments, your questions, if you have additional information or a correction, because guess...
we need corrections.
We need corrections, man.
We need help, please.
I'm sure. We need your help, too. This is all of us working together, just talk and talk. Call us at that number, and you will be a part of the show, and we have plenty of voicemails that we'll play later on today. But let's get to the latest news. I know every time we talk, it's like iPhone 7? iPhone 7 again?
They're heating up.
iPhone 6A? Or we got iPhone 6.
iPhone 6SE?
6SE? iPhone 6A. 6A. The latest news coming out, and this is from EvLeaks and Evan Blass again, is that pre-orders for the actual iPhone, and he has confirmed this, for the next iPhone will start on September the 9th. Now, if you look at how the iPhone has released in the past, and this hasn't been always the case, but in this situation, if the pre-orders are the 9th, and we talked about it earlier this week or the last episode, the actual phone is reportedly expected to come out on September the 16th for retail release. September the 5th is Labor Day. That's a Monday.
Yeah.
Apple won't, but they better
Let's hope not.
They better not say, hey, we're going to do an announcement on that Monday. Would you be
they
happy
won't.
with
They won't.
They won't.
But will they release the phone the next day on the Tuesday?
Well,
Because they always release stuff on Tuesdays.
If
right?
you follow the trends and how they've been doing it in the past, my hunch is that the keynote will be on September the 6th, which is Tuesday.
Thank God.
So
Please.
save your money if you want a phone that looks exactly like your current one. I'm just messing with you all. I am messing with you all. But that's the latest that we have there from EvLeaks. Another little shot. We've been talking about the dongle, right? Look, no antenna lines, a lightning port. Those are kind of two of the core things. A better camera sensor. But Vietnamese website Tinte, they've been around for years, and they always kind of get some interesting leaks once in a while. They're showcasing off what appears to be the actual lightning to headphone jack adapter. And really, it looks exactly like you would expect it to look like. 2 inches, lightning port on one end, and my voice is cracked.
That looks like something we're going to lose.
Of course you're going to lose
You're going to
that.
lose this thing.
And you're going to pay $20 to replace
And
it.
you're going to be like, where's my dongle?
Where's my dongle at? Tinte.
Oh, my gosh. It's tiny, and it also looks like it can break easily. It's going to fray apart like every other Apple cable that you have. It's going to fray apart. You're going to have to go buy another one after like a year or two.
Value add, Beecham. Value add. Value add. Another interesting thing, though, just about the transition of going from headphones that are physically plugged into Bluetooth headphones. This is a report by the NPD group just recently has reported that Bluetooth headphones, for the first time, revenue from Bluetooth headphones overall has overtaken non-Bluetooth headphones ahead of the latest iPhone launch. And that's an interesting thing because, right, you sometimes want to get ahead of these trends. According to the report, 54% of headphone dollar sales and 17% of the unit sales in the United States went to Bluetooth headphones. So this is the first time they've ever been able to overtake that, which I use Bluetooth. I mean, are you using Bluetooth headphones? You're a music guy, Beecham.
I'm not using Bluetooth,
right?
But I would if I had a cool pair that was awesome. And
what about when you work out?
Reviewed them and they were great.
You go to the gym. Do you use Bluetooth headphones
there?
No. Oh, you don't?
I don't. I have the regular headphones. I always have to put my phone on its side.
See, that's when I definitely go with Bluetooth headphones in the gym because I got to make room for the guns. For all you that were watching the video, you might have been poked out in the eye by my guns.
No, I need some Bluetooth headphones though.
Maybe I can help you out there.
Oh, okay.
I've got some friends.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a valuable contributor. Pretty much an indispensable element of the show. Maybe I should work on that for you. Yeah?
I was actually thinking about them today. I'm like, because I'm tethered to my desk and my computer when you're editing, and I'm like, if I could just get up and walk around and
even just
spin around in my chair.
Yeah, it'd be nice. So the trend is there. We are moving in that direction. I know, yes, we've always been able to have Bluetooth headphones. This is nothing new. But the fact that Apple is removing a physical jack and basically saying, without our dongle, you need to use Bluetooth headphones, it is aligning with what's happening to consumers in the industry right now. And MPD is a legitimate resource that pulls this type of sales information.
And look at this this chart at the bottom of this blog post. Top selling Bluetooth headphone brands ranked by dollars. Beats is number 1.
That's what I use for my workout.
So there you go.
What is it? Beats, LG,
Beats,
then
LG, Bose, Jaybird, and then Skull Candy.
Skull Candy.
Skull Candy.
Skull Candy makes like the fun looking ones. I mean, they may not be the best sounding, but they do have like a little flair to them. So that's what's happening in the iPhone world. But we wanted to, before we get to some of the new stuff, at least address some of the earnings. This past week, Apple reported their third quarter fiscal earnings, which is equivalent to the second quarter in the calendar year. And quite honestly, the numbers were not very pretty. We'll just go over the recap really quickly. Overall, Apple's revenue dropped 15%. Okay, so from a pure revenue standpoint, and this is obviously because of the decline of sales of iPhones, but there's other areas that were affected. Apple posted a $42.4 billion net quarterly revenue. And then if you compare that to last year, it was $49.6 billion. Okay, now let's talk about the actual products. iPhones dropped, if you compare this to last year's quarter, 40.4 million versus 47.5 million a year earlier. Mac sales down 4.25 million units, down from 4.8 last year. iPad sales were also down again. I think this might be now either like the 6th or 7th quarter where iPad sales have been down, falling 9.95 million from 10.9. So every major product category for Apple was down.
That's crazy. I mean, it makes sense. The iPad things make sense because I think once everyone bought an iPad, they're like, I don't really need this thing other than for entertainment, for like just fun things. But the other products losing their market share too that's staggering.
So the other thing is, I didn't include this report in here, Beach, and we talked about it on the video show. But when you look at where Apple is losing, who is gaining, and the clear beneficiary of this has been the Samsung Galaxy S7 phone line, or just their phones in general.
Oh, yeah, that's like their big rival.
So if you even look at stats for them, we don't have them here, at least for our video audience, but Samsung shipped 77 million phones this past quarter. Apple shipped 40.4 million. And then if you talk about just market share of who was buying what, Samsung nearly doubled Apple, or almost doubled Apple again. I think they were at like 22.4% market share. Apple was somewhere around like 11% market share. And so at least in this quarter, Samsung is just beating them down. Yeah. Now, during this earnings report, Tim Cook did mention that he's optimistic about the next iPhone and the next upgrade, purely because Apple has such a large install base. And if you want to talk about that install base, Apple did announce earlier this week after their earnings report that they had sold their 1 billionth iPhone.
Which is incredible.
1 billion iPhones sold.
Which is why I had this music that we were... Oh, wait, that's the wrong music. Sorry. The music that you were hearing me play before the show, I had this for the 1 billionth iPhone sale. That's astronomical. Wow.
It's amazing. And think about this. This has happened in 9 years, okay?
9 years.
9 years.
Wow.
I mean, just think how many they'll sell when the actual real new iPhone comes out next year. I'm like basically telling everyone, you probably shouldn't get this upcoming iPhone if you have a 6 or a 6S and even a 5S. You might as well wait it out. But we do want to congratulate Apple. That is an impressive feat. I just did a little background check of how long it took McDonald's to sell their 1 billionth hamburger.
Yeah.
And so their officially first restaurant opened in 1940.
Okay.
In 1963 is when they sold their 1 billionth hamburger.
Wow, so let's do the math on that.
23 years?
3 years.
23 years.
And Apple did it in 9.
And the burgers are way less expensive than an iPhone.
In the 60s, a burger was like probably 75 cents, 50 cents.
If that.
An iPhone when did it come out? In 2000?
Where are we at?
7?
Where are we at? No,
It's
we're at
2016.
2016.
God, math is hard.
So we're at 2007.
And it was in the iPhone. The first iPhone was what, like $700 or something?
Yeah,
like
when
that?
it first launched. And
Wow.
then, but remember, people were so pissed about it because then they like lowered the price because it was a little high. And then they gave everyone who bought it on launch like $100 gift card to be like, oh yeah, we're sorry, because they dropped it. I believe they dropped it $200, and like after people were like, and then people that bought it like me, they gave them like a $100 gift card to be like, all right, thanks, sorry, we're our bad. But for the record, my original iPhone, which I kept, still works. It still freaking works.
Really, I sold mine.
I had to keep the first one though. I thought.
I should have kept my first one.
Don't you regret selling that first one?
I did regret it, totally.
I mean, that's a game changer.
I know. It should be in a museum, my first one.
The first devices that I have the original Power Mac G4 Cube. I don't know if you remember that.
I've seen pictures of it. I've never seen one.
Amazing. And then I have an original iPod that still works to this day.
Wow.
And then an original iPhone. I also have the Macintosh 2 SE. All-in-one.
Ooh, I used to have like the old school Mac.
Yeah, that you grew up in, like
with Ground Zero and Frogger on it.
And that shuffle puck game with the horror. It was like a haunted house shuffle puck.
Yeah.
Was it Dark Castle or Beyond Dark Castle? You ever remember that one? Where you threw the stones?
No.
Okay, everyone's like, "What are you guys talking about? Shut up, you're old."
Here's a picture of Tim Cook with the 1 billionth iPhone that he sold. Right, and he's holding his.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. So there you go. There's the earnings. And Tim Cook did say that he is optimistic with the new phone coming out, and so we'll see how that plays out. I mean, I feel like we really know everything about the phone, right?
Yeah, I mean, the last two phones, all the rumors that came out were totally true. So it's we know everything.
Remember,
about it,
for the record, I want to let people know. Remember when Tim Cook said we're doubling down on secrecy when he first took over?
Which means we're gonna hire some secret Twitter guys to tweet out.
Doubling down on secrecy. We know everything about this phone, like more than ever. Okay, we want to say thank you to our sponsors here. We've got to talk about our friends from iDevices, handpicked by Apple to be one of the original HomeKit launch partners, currently with the largest line of HomeKit products on the market. iDevices, top-of-the-line quality, sleek design aesthetic, smart home customization, 100% US-based customer service from real people like you and me. iDevices has a complete line of connected home products, including smart plugs, Wi-Fi thermostat, rain-tight outdoor smart plugs, and the introduced socket adapter to make any dumb bulb a smart bulb.
Each product has fully customizable night light that can add ambience and flair to your smart home.
It's nice.
No hub, no fees. It just works. With simple setup and seamless integration, the premier HomeKit aggregator app manage and control all iDevices products and any other HomeKit-enabled device. More than gadgets, smart home products designed for a complete smart home experience. And I got to turn my page over. It uses Siri and Alexa voice commands. So surf on over to iDevicesinc.com. That's iDevicesinc.com. And use promo code AppleByte for 15% off your home's evolution.
iDevices, evolving your home. We need to say it more. Let's say it more pleasant. Like, ready? iDevices, evolving your home. See, that sounds better.
That's much better.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I will say their Switch is awesome. Works both with Hey, you know who. I don't want to set your phones off. And also the Amazon Echo, which is still, my goodness, my favorite new product of the last year and a half. It's amazing, and it's
I'm still shopping for that.
That's the game changer product. You know what? Just sit tight because I think a new one's coming out by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
They also,
I'm waiting for the price to go down and possibly a new one. You know,
on Amazon Prime Day, they took like $50 off.
I know. I saw it, but I wasn't in the mood that day.
Okay, well, this was a segment sponsored by iDevices and not Amazon.
Yes.
All right, let's get to more of our show. This is probably the most fascinating story that I've seen this week, and we wanted to bring it in the middle of the show just to kind of cover all the iPhone stuff at the top. But you know that we have been talking about the Apple TV service here for a long time, the rumored TV streaming service. And if you rewind to a few episodes, we had said that we felt the reason why we haven't seen a TV streaming service is because Apple must be so hard-lined on their demands that has been turning off the studios because Sling TV has their own TV service, Sony PlayStation Vue has their own TV service. Why in the world has Apple not been able to do this? So an article by the Wall Street Journal just dropped today talking about how Apple's hard-charging tactics have actually hurt their TV expansion and their plans for a streaming service. Now, it just kind of goes through historically what has happened, and most recently, as in 2015, Apple has really tried to make this work on their own terms. But a recent meeting in 2015 between Apple and Disney, Apple wanted to demand basically that they freeze the monthly rate per viewer that is paid, right? So that they could get Disney's channels. Now, TV channels usually get an annual rate increase and rely on them to fuel growth, but Apple wanted to freeze them, and this is what their message was to Disney. And Disney's like, no, we're not going to do that. That's not how our industry works. And Apple has continued to take this position of, we are Apple. So then the Wall Street Journal, we've heard bits and pieces of this through the past few years. They went on and kind of really tried to break down Apple's, I guess you could call it hubris, over the past years, starting back as far as 2009, of how Apple has really negotiated this. I'm not going to dig in super, but I want to give you just this idea or this sense of where Apple is screwing this up. And it really comes down to, really, again, their cockiness and thinking that we're Apple. So in 2009, when they first were kind of approaching this idea and thought, Apple was offering higher fees than the paid for TV providers, right? These cable service providers, but they only wanted certain channels. They only wanted like 20 to 25 channels. And the people that are putting their content are like, well, for example, let's say a company like Disney, they don't own just ABC and the Disney Channel. Yeah. They have Disney XD. They have Disney Disney Kids.
There's like 4 different Disney channels.
Then there's ABC Family. Like, they want all of those on the service. Apple's like, no, we only want 25 channels. Everyone's like, sorry, we don't want to play. And this is very early. Remember, this is 2009.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's fast forward to 2011. And we had heard rumors about Apple working with Time Warner and a deal falling through and them saying, okay, we're going to wait on this. What had happened there is Apple and Time Warner were working on a joint TV service that would be on Time Warner boxes. Okay. The big hiccup was that Apple wanted people to sign up using their Apple IDs. They wanted Time Warner to handle all the billing and subscription. So,
which is like
basically like, hey,
infrastructure.
Do the infrastructure, do the clerical stuff, but we're going to have the customers use their Apple IDs to sign in. Also, we aren't going to necessarily give you all the data about those customers because that is private to us.
Which is so important
to
every industry, analytics or everything.
To learn how they do this. In addition to this, Apple pitched a similar deal to Comcast. These cable operators were like, well, how is the channel selection going to work? How is this? And in the article, let me see if I can find it in quote. In the article, according to here, and people who are privy to these meetings, an Apple official replied that the software would be better than anything you've ever had. So they even asked them something like, could you maybe sketch this out on a napkin so that we could at least see what this might look like? And they didn't. They had no answers for that.
Really?
So you're like, okay, you can't even tell us how innovative this menu will work. It's like, no. Okay, fine. That's cool. Now, we're catching up to speed now. So this is, 2009, 2011, 2013 now, okay? Eddie Q comes to a meeting with Time Warner CEO, and this is, according to people inside this meeting, Time Warner owns HBO, TNT, CNN, TBS, things like that. And according to the article, Apple's Mr. Q arrived 10 minutes late and was wearing jeans, tennis shoes with no socks, and a Hawaiian shirt, says a person familiar with the meeting. The other executives were wearing suits. So that in itself kind of is like, oh, Eddie Q kind of like trying to swagger in, thinking he's like the man, like we're going to do things my way. But that's not how it went. They say in the article, Apple wanted full on-demand seasons of hit shows and rights to their cloud-based DVR that would automatically store the top programs and allow ad skipping on newly aired shows. So, like, this is kind of...
There's so many red flags there.
This is
I don't
Apple,
even know where to start.
This is Apple coming in basically saying, hey, this is how we want to do TV. You guys don't know what you're doing. And the TV guys are like, do you have any idea how we do this? Like, are you really that cocky? And so I think that when you hear these situations of how Apple just doesn't get in the TV industry to try and build their own TV service, it makes sense. it backs up what you and I have been talking about like the past 2-3 months.
This is exactly what we've been talking about. We're just like, Apple's going into these meetings saying, we're Apple, trust us. We're going to make everything great. And then it's just not working. And if they started this negotiations in 2009, if they would have nailed down any sort of negotiation at that time, they would be way ahead of everybody right now, because everyone else kind of came on slow to streaming all their content online too. Like Comcast, a lot of these companies just slowly have been ramping up their online content. And if Apple would have nailed that in 2009, we'd be in a much different place now.
Yeah, and it speaks to, look, I think Apple learned from iTunes. This is at a point in time, remember, when the music recording industry was desperate for something. They weren't making money on CD sales, right?
Yeah.
People were ripping nonstop. There wasn't an easy digital
Napster
infrastructure,
had
right?
Just come out,
all of those
everyone
things, right?
Away.
Apple was the savior for them, but the TV industry, totally different. They don't need a savior. No. They're doing just fine. And Apple thinks that, we throw this word around, the disruptor. But look at what TV networks are doing now. All they're doing is like, you know what? Forget you, Apple. People are paying for our cable service. We're just going to build apps that give them the ability to access that same information or same content. We're making the money. Thanks, Apple, but no thanks.
Yeah, I mean, every major television studio has their own app now that you can log in through. If you have a cable subscription, you just log into that, and then you're watching whatever show. I'm watching the PGA Championship on my phone on TNT. It's all good.
It's all good. And so where does this leave Apple now? We even talked, I think, even as recent as like last week. I said, I've got a feeling that because they aren't able to make a deal now that so many channels and networks are just making an app to be able to watch their content, Apple's kind of content with that right now. And because of the way that they're using Siri on the Apple TV, you're starting to be able to just call, they said, in TiVos, you'll just be able to call up, say, play VH1, and show me VH1, and the channel will open and launch, and then you'll be able to
that's cool.
navigate through that content, which is cool.
I would love that.
But they do not have a TV streaming service anywhere in sight. And I just think that it's very, very telling of Apple's thinking and just their philosophy of like, they still think that they're number one. And if you look around,
the whole like blue jeans and Hawaiian shirt, that's
no socks.
It's a very Silicon Valley move, right?
No socks. For the record, no socks. And I think I can't find the quote right here, but in the article, they quoted. Oh, here we go. So Mr. Q has basically referred to the TV industry as overly complicated talks, and his quote is, "Time is on my side."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, whatever, buddy. But here's the difference also. Eddie Q is not Steve Jobs.
No, not at all.
And for anyone to think, for Apple internally to think that they are the same Apple without Steve Jobs has been probably one of the biggest mistakes that they continue to make.
They have brand cachet, but that's about it right now.
And that brand cachet is changing. It's dwindling. It's a different beast now. So we'll see how that all plays out. But again, huge fail if Apple is unable to launch a TV streaming service by now. And I can't remember the numbers because we had brought it up, but I know that the PlayStation Vue is up to this point is the most successful TV streaming service. I think they had over, I don't want to go too far, but I swear it was around 250, 300,000 paying subscribers already.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that a lot lately too. People are like clamoring for some update of that product.
Yeah. So we will see what happens. Okay, I jumped ahead, guys and gals. 100,000 subscribers. See, I didn't want to get like people like, what, 300,000? So they have set to surpass 100,000 subscribers right now for the PlayStation Vue service, which is really solid.
Yeah.
Okay, in other news that I'm personally excited about, Apple Watch 2. Apple Watch 2 report. Get ready, y'all. Is said to include a thinner one glass solution display. Why does this matter right now? This one glass solution technology eliminates the fact that it is layers of glass from the traditional display. Right now, it features two pieces of glass, and so they're replacing one layer with a thinner material and allowing it to be a lower profile. They didn't say if the form factor of the actual Apple Watch would change from a standpoint of, look, there's no way in hell that they're going to change these the wristband sizing. And
Oh,
if they do, I will literally go over and strangle Johnny Ive. At the next Apple store unveiling, I'm just going to walk up and just start squeeze his neck. I will not.
Less glass and make it a little lighter too, you think?
Yeah, it'll make it slightly lighter. But that is the report according to Digitimes, and we're expecting to still see the Apple Watch by the end of this year. I'm kind of curious that we might see it at this September keynote, honestly. I don't know if they really have to do a brand new keynote. Like
the last keynote they did, they talked a lot about the Apple Watch.
They did a dedicated one
Yeah,
for the Apple Watch, basically.
So, yeah.
And WatchOS Trace is fire. Like, I love it. It's going to change how you feel about the Apple Watch, guaranteed. Just to also follow up with some more news as we kind of round things out here with the Apple Car. This is the latest and greatest. We told you that Bob Mansfield, who was the Senior VP of Hardware Engineering, was recently hired to take over the project. And now it looks like Apple is moving in a different direction. This is a report according to Bloomberg, where Apple has hired BlackBerry talent. They've actually hired the former CEO of QNX. And if you don't remember QNX, that is BlackBerry's mobile operating system. His name is Dan Dodge. Okay, so Apple has brought him onto the team as well to report to Bob Mansfield. And the actual project has now shifted where the priority isn't necessarily the car. The initiative is now to prioritize development of an autonomous driving system. So a driverless system is taking priority over actually designing the physical car the look and the feel. Yeah. And the hope is that this will not only help accelerate just maybe their focus, but in addition to that, they could, if this whole car idea doesn't really pan out for them, they could technically license this system or partner with other car manufacturers that say, hey, we have a design that we want to partner with you to create this car based on your platform. So it's a little strategic as well.
Yeah. It's kind of like the robot operating system race right now. You know what I mean? Do you know about that? Like,
no, tell me.
There's a lot of companies developing robots, and they're all in a race to develop the operating system that everyone will use for said robot. Like they all want to be the iOS of robots. So it's kind of interesting. But hiring a BlackBerry executive, does that have to do with security? Because I know BlackBerry's, very famous for being like the most secure phone. Do you think that has to do? Because I know there's a lot of issues with hacking car software right now, so maybe that has something to do with it.
I think it's an interesting point. I think no one has really said what Dan Dodge's pure role is right now. But I think it is a really smart idea to just give them the options to decide if they want to maybe acquire someone to become their actual car chassis or not, right? Or if they want to partner with someone instead of actually building the car itself. It's definitely a different approach because everyone else is like, we are just building everything from the ground up. And Apple is behind. Let's not forget that.
It's leaning more towards, we've talked about it before, but it's leaning more towards where it's going to be a service as opposed to a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can sell this self-driving software or whatever hardware they're going to build and put it in other cars, put it in any car maybe. Who knows?
And just a couple other details from this article. We know that demand for the iPhone is significantly just really dropped off as of late. We'll let the numbers bear out what happens with the latest release. And then obviously the 10th anniversary. You know what we call it, Beachum? The iPhone future. So with this demand going down, they need a new revenue stream as well. So even if this is a potential revenue stream that comes out in 2021, which is what the rumored push-out date is, it's important. And that's also why, to me, that TV streaming service is so important to Apple. Another revenue stream that they haven't been able to figure out. It's come on, Apple.
I don't know. I like this render of the steering wheel though with the Apple logo on it.
Dude, you could
so cheesy.
You could accomplish that same thing by taking the sticker from your freaking iPhone and put it on the center of your steering wheel.
This looks cheesy.
Another
a lot of buttons there too for like your phone, play buttons and stuff. There should be all that other stuff.
I'm gonna. We just have a couple more car-related, driving, wheeling-related stories. Apple is partnering. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. This is not working. Here we go. Apple is partnered with Parkopedia to bring in-depth parking data to Apple Maps.
Nice.
So this is a partnership between the two companies. iOS users will be able to use Apple Maps and discover more than 40 million parking spots in 75 countries across North America, Europe, Asia, and Latin America.
That's pretty cool.
So, they have data like where these lots are, reading what payment types they accept, number of space. They're obviously specific parking lots. It's not like they're going to have the data on every single parking lot, right? It's parking lots that have partnered and have made this data available because they're trying to make money.
Yeah.
And they're working with Apple to provide that data. So I think it's a cool feature to have, especially in places like San Francisco,
where parking is so expensive. I was just going to say, looking at this graphic here, there's no mention of how much the parking space is. That's something I want to know. Because in San Francisco, you can find a parking space for like $30 a day. It's ridiculous.
Even more.
So, even more.
Yeah, even more. And then when there's like Giants games, they jack that up. It's like $40 for the night. You better get in the morning when it's like 20.
Yeah,
like that. That's a deal there. And then finally, this story is kind of like depressing to me, but we know Apple is trying to get in the content game, but Apple has decided to they're kind of the surprise buyer of the unscripted TV series based on Carpool Karaoke.
Really?
So that segment with James Corden?
Yeah, it's like one of
from the Late Late Show. It's a
very
super
popular segment.
and easy to package and become a viral video. They're taking celebrities, musicians, singing awesome songs with James Corden. Well, this series is going to be exclusive, according to the report, to Apple Music. This will not encourage me to watch to buy Apple Music. I'm dead serious.
It's a TV show.
It's like a 5-minute video, like a mini segment. Yeah, video segments that will involve celebrities and musicians, but will also not involve James Corden, who kind of makes
the segment cool. Okay, so they got Dr. Dre working on a TV show. They
got a biopic TV show. They got Planet of the Apps.
And then what was the other one? Wasn't there a Will.i.am thing happening?
Will.i.am is Planet of the Apps. So that was like a reality contest show.
And then they got Carpool Karaoke, but not the star of Carpool Karaoke.
No, not at all. So Apple has licensed 16 episodes of the show. They'll be executive produced by Corden and the Late Late Show. So they're acquiring this through CBS, but he will not be involved in it as well. So it's just like, look, this is like when you see something like on a TV or a movie, and then you just make your own version and put it up on YouTube, and it's just not as good.
Yeah.
Apple's doing that, but they're paying lots of money for it.
Lots of money, I'm sure.
Like, don't you think, quite honestly, we have seen Carpool Karaoke's since the advent of time. Like, these have existed before Carpool Karaoke was a segment on the CBS show.
That's why it's popular, because everyone does it on their own time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
so all I'm saying is we've seen videos of this before James Corden made it popular with celebrities. And is it really his idea? Is it really his idea?
When he talked about it actually recently on Howard Stern show, and he said it was just a very organic thing. He's like, why don't we get someone in a car? I think the first one was Mariah Carey. He's like, let's get her to just drive around and have her sing her hits,
Yeah.
And then it did 1 million views on YouTube. It was really YouTube that made this segment popular. It's not CBS or production or anything having to do with that. It's like an organic thing that happened on YouTube, and then they're like, oh, well, this kind of works, and now we got to start doing it all the time. Mm-hmm. And now Apple's picking up on that from it sounds so weird to me. I'm sorry.
It's just the whole icky thing where something that kind of comes from innocent good intentions, and then it's just completely sucked up by corporate.
Yeah.
And then it's not even what it used to be. Like, if it was Corden and it was the same thing, then you'd be more. I still wouldn't pay for an Apple Music subscription, but it would definitely be a bonus if you are a subscriber. Now it's like, wait, it's Carpool Karaoke without Corden, and come on, these are not going to be A-list artists. These are going to be like Wilson Phillips minus Wilson.
Yeah.
It's going to be like that.
Yeah, like up-and-comers that you never heard of before who, their record label's trying to get them exposure. Oh, you could go on the Apple Apple show.
It takes the charm out of it. And whoever they pick as a host, it's just not going to be as good. Yeah. But I'd do it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We should do our own CNET version.
You
know?
could carpool karaoke, but now everything is a copycat.
No,
but
we'll
again,
just bite it. We'll just bite it from them too.
This concept, we'll do our own for the Apple Byte. This existed before even Corden did carpool karaoke.
Yeah.
So,
that's interesting.
Apple's getting into the content game, but I will say their most original idea is the Planet of the Apps show. Although it sounds funny, it does have an interesting twist on the whole competition idea.
Yeah, it does. And we have exclusive footage from that. If you watch like 2 episodes ago, I showed some on the show.
Yes, we do. Okay, should we go check out our voicemails today?
Yeah, let's check out our voicemail.
Awesome.
Okay, hang on. Give me 1 second.
I will. I'm gonna let you get it. I'll let you get the oven warm right now, man.
Okay, here's Michael. Let me stop this music that's been playing the whole show, and I didn't even know it was playing. Michael from New Jersey. Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Michael from New Jersey. I love the show. I just wanted to add something, just to add to the rumors that are going around about the removal of the Touch ID home button, and they might replace it with a haptic feedback. Is if for example, you put a finger on it that is not registered with Touch ID, you'll feel a haptic feedback through the button. So it's very, very possible that they're right, like Mac with the car or wherever the rumors are, that they will remove the home button for the iPhone 7. I just wanted to let you guys know. Thanks. Love the show. Bye.
That's what I like that. I like that knowledge. Yeah. It's always just a little bit of tidbit. Yeah.
So it's gonna like poke you if you're not registered on the phone and you try to. Something will poke you in the finger.
It'll be like more of a buzz that is kind of more a rejection buzz.
Like
right?
Don't touch me.
It'd be like bap 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 bap.
That's weird.
Something like that. Some haptic response like that.
Okay. We got Matthew from Michigan checking in.
Michigan.
Hello, my name is Matthew. I am from Michigan, and I'd like to say real quick, I love your show, and I'd like to ask 2 questions. My first one is, I'm a little upset that Apple is no longer they're not as colorful as they used to be. They used to be the color company. Now they're just the company that makes black, white, rose gold, and gold products. Even their logo used to be colored and all the iPods. And do you think they'll ever do that with the iPhone, like have a blue, purple, pink, yellow, green iPhone? And do you think they're done with iLife, like the iLife 06, 07, etc., like iMovie and all them? Thank you.
Hey, I agree. We need more colors.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's cases out there, but the iPhone 5C, which I destroyed, was their most recent colorful collection of products. Apple's just, I think there's something in the DNA that has clearly changed. And I don't even necessarily say, Steve Jobs was like behind all the color. He might have been, but clearly Tim Cook is like, we're a classy company. It's like these looks or designs, or maybe it's just Johnny Ives influence. It's not about fun. It's about being classy, being a premium product. Like they forgot they were a premium product while still having colors.
I think the color, almost the colors almost saved him, Like we all had gray computers, white computers, black.
Yep.
And then Steve Jobs he came out and he's like, I got this bright pink laptop right here. Check this out. And everyone's like, whoa, that is awesome. It's bright pink, Yep. So I totally understand this guy.
We even, just to give you a little background as well, where we talk about colors, long before I was here, I used to work at a company called Spec Products, and we used to make cases, and we ended up making the shells for laptops, MacBooks, the first ever, and the whole thing was to bring back colors because MacBooks were all just silver.
Oh yeah.
Right? There were no colors at all. And that became the top selling product for that company, and probably, now that laptops are selling less these days, not as much, but for years that product drove that company. And I think the most challenging part of it is, this, some colors sell more than others.
Yeah.
Black, clear, and red were always the top ones, and then after that, you had to really kind of figure out how many units of these other colors we're going to make, and that's up for them to decide. I mean, they're such a large-scale company; they can figure that out. But I do miss the colors. I think you're right on the money. Like, that's someone who loved colors, and who the guy that called, what was his name? Sorry, was it
Matthew?
Yeah, sure. Matthew, what's up? In response to iLife, the iLife will not go away, although it doesn't get updated nearly as much. they're not going to try and force people to use Final Cut Pro, although Final Cut Pro is like iMovie Plus.
Final Cut Pro X.
Yep, Final Cut.
Horrible.
iMovie Pro. It's like, oh my goodness. But they can't get rid of that. I mean, you still have iPhoto, which is plugged into their photo. Or actually, that I believe isn't their new app going to just be called? Is it just going to be called Photos?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We heard some announcement recently. About
Something
that.
like that. See, my brain. I'm sorry.
There's a lot.
Someone call us and correct us and say, Brian, you don't know nothing. You shouldn't be doing this show. Don't do
No.
this show. But yeah, either way, iLife will live on in some way, shape, or form. The time that I was the most disappointed about iLife is when they took away iDVD. And I don't know, no one's, even Steven's like, what are you
even
talking
know
about?
iDVD.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Oh no, you can burn DVDs.
Not only could you burn them,
DVDs,
you could
right?
make your own DVD
Yeah.
menus.
Yes,
Like
I
with
do
graphics
remember that.
and colors and
Dude,
music and
when I was-
transition. So
When I was in college, I did that.
when I was trying to get whatever demo reels out, no one was doing them on DVDs. People were still handing out this technology called VHS. Might as well have been giving out stone tablets back then. And so I burned my own DVDs, but I made my own menus on them. And
That's cool.
It doesn't, you know what? Will you get a job because you did that? No, but it just shows that like, I got that extra polish on there.
Yeah, one day you'll look back at you'll be all proud of your DVD menu. One day.
I, in fact, still have one of those DVDs that I should just bring to you as a joke, just so you
I
could
would
see
love
it.
it. I would love it.
See some of my old work, how horrible it
That's
was,
funny.
and how horrible it hasn't even improved at all in 10 years. It's just as bad.
There's probably like 4 kids watching the show. Like, what's a DVD?
It's true. But yeah, I don't think they'll completely get rid of it. It'll still live in some way, shape, or form. I think the last time it was updated was, though, like iLife 2013, when they used to update it every year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay, we got another call. Jeffrey. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm going to do Blair in West Hollywood first.
Blair.
Hey, this is Blair in West Hollywood. So with the supposed release of the iPhone on September 12th, and that's short of a year from when the last iPhone was released, what will that do to people like me who did the Apple financing where you have to wait a whole year before you can upgrade? Let me know what you think. Hey,
Sorry.
So I was reading a comment on Periscope because I got distracted. So can you tell me what he said?
Oh, he was the subscribe. He has when you get the new iPhone.
Yes,
And he has
yes.
the
Okay,
plan.
so from past experience, I had an iPhone. I think it was when I moved from a 4S to a 5 back in the day, it was one of those transitions, and I still had a month in between when my phone was ready to upgrade, and they did not let me shorten that distance. They just said,
Oh, really?
it's a pure contract. It's 365 days. Maybe you can work your magic, but it's about a week and a half this time, maybe close to 2 weeks. The actual release would be the 16th. If your contract ends on the 25th, what did he say? Did he say the 25th?
Oh, I forgot.
Or a week or so?
I missed that part.
Maybe they'll make an exception, but my hunch is that they won't. They didn't for me back in the
No,
day, and this
they
is
won't.
more through the carrier contract, or when you buy it outright, versus Apple saying, we'll do you a favor, let's just do this. If they do it for you, let us know. I'd be curious to hear when that happens.
I have a feeling there's like some automated system like standing in the way of doing that. You know what I mean? Like someone at Apple will just be like, I can't do it. The computer won't let me do it. You have to wait till your contract ends. I just have a feeling that's how we'll go.
Yeah, I mean, the scopers said, like, Periscopers have just said basically the same thing happened to them. So,
Too bad.
sorry.
Okay, this is our last call. Jeffrey.
I'm Jeffrey, and I was wondering if you had a Windows laptop or a MacBook.
The question of the day, Steven, Windows or MacBook?
I have a Windows. My personal computer's a Windows 10, and my work laptop is a MacBook. So I prefer my Windows.
Yeah, my work is a MacBook. My home computers. I'm just gonna sound like a spoiled dude, but this is. I actually have an old MacBook Air, like old. I don't have the new one, but I use an iMac and an iPad Pro, 12.9 inches.
Yeah.
Specifically to do most of my stuff. But I'll tell you right now, I mean, if you want one that does everything, that's the best of both worlds. You got to get a Surface Pro.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. I'm just saying, it's
Yeah.
really good. But why haven't I gotten a Surface Pro? Because all my stuff's on the ecosystem, and I like my iPad a lot. but none of the keyboard solutions they have is worth my time yet. Bridge is coming out with one, and I can't remember who else is that I'm curious to see. But until someone can give me a good keyboard solution for my iPad Pro, I go keyboardless. But again, nothing compared to what the Surface Pro does. It makes me sad how their hybrid OS is so much better.
Yeah, like for me and my Windows laptop, it's all about the touchscreen. I mean, I have to be able to scroll, hit play, hit big buttons. Like when I'm on my Apple laptop, it feels old to me. I'm just like, oh, I can't touch the screen. It's weird.
We like to touch things.
I like to touch stuff.
I like to touch things. All right. Before we go, kiddies, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'd just like to say one more thing. We'd like to thank today's sponsors, iDevices, manufactured, meticulously designed, and thoughtful products like smart plugs, switches, thermostats, and a socket, a light bulb adapter that turns any dumb bulb into a smart one with dimming capabilities, and a full color customizable night light. More than mere gadgets, iDevices aims to evolve your home with products that are built around your life. Surf on over to iDevicesinc.com. That's iDevicesinc.com. And use promo AppleBuy for 15% off your home's evolution. Ready for this, Steven?
Yeah.
iDevices, evolving your home.
All right.
All right. That's it for this week. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.